Gloop, glop, glorp, gloop, glop, glorp. I'm an alien. This is not English.
And welcome to the Mind Your Movies podcast. I'm Ryan,
I'm Shane.
and and if you can't tell, today we're talking about Disclosure Day.
Yeah, only Josh O'Connor understood what I said at the beginning there. It's a coded message.
Yeah, yeah, Josh O'Connor, if you're listening, that one's for you.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, we're reviewing Disclosure Day. We're gonna start with some non-spoiler discussion for anyone who's just kind of curious about the movie, and then we'll have a full spoiler discussion in the second part of the episode. And yeah, I guess I guess we should just get right into it.
Yeah, we don't have too much to say. We do have our picks for our next full episode for zombies. We're going to reveal that at the end of the
Yes.
episode, so stay tuned. But we'll just get
Yes.
right into it because I'm sure Disclosure Day just came out. A lot of people are looking for this.
The talk of the town is
Yes.
the divisiveness of Disclosure Day. I feel like people having all sorts of reactions. Some people loving it, some people hating it.
Yeah.
Where do we fall? You're about to find out.
Yeah. It's actually interesting that I kind of before I went into this movie, I stumbled onto a Reddit post on like the AMC A-list thing of all places that was like a review or someone saying like, what did everyone else think of this movie? And it was Disclosure Day, and I was seeing it the day it released. I was seeing it on Thursday, whatever it was, the uh oh crap, I don't even have the date. No, I do. The 12th, sorry.
Hmm.
Um and I was like, I was trying to avoid spoilers, I was trying to avoid everything. But the first thing I saw on this Reddit post was just like all the comments being like, this was trash. And so I went in, I would say, certainly aware of the divisiveness of this
Hmm.
movie.
Gotcha. I don't think I really knew what to expect. I knew it was the new Spielberg. People were hyped for it. I'm not a big Spielberg guy. Obviously, he's made some great movies, but he's got some misses for sure. And yeah, but I was pretty excited for the movie and came away pretty disappointed. So
Hmm.
that's the general thing. But yeah, I mean, it's the new Steven Spielberg movie, stars Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor. It's basically about this the government has been keeping secrets about aliens and they're trying to disclose them to the public. And there's a chase, and most of the movie's that. And then there's some stuff at the end that we'll talk about at the spoiler section. But yeah, that's kind of it. And then there's some weird stuff that happens. We'll talk about it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
it just didn't really work for me.
Yeah.
It felt really long. It's about 2.5 hours long, and it felt it. I was reminded of the most infamous movie we've never covered on the podcast, but I always bring up Eddington, of another movie by a popular director. Obviously, Ari Aster and Spielberg are extremely different in like
Yeah.
uh, their uh, their sentiments toward life and their style. Everything is very different, but both of them were movies that I feel like cared more about the ideas than about like just telling a good story. And they, and yeah, I just felt like it dragged a lot. And I was just pretty disappointed. The characters felt pretty thin. And then some of the plot, where the plot goes, there's a lot of conveniences and things that we'll get into probably in spoilers. But yeah, I was actually pretty strongly disappointed with this movie.
Yeah. And that's a bummer. I think I went in um I would say pretty curious. I think I would say I'm a pretty big Spielberg person. Not like I mean, I've seen AI, it's not like I love everything Spielberg's made, but um but uh I mean Close Encounters, ET, I think he's made some cool stuff in this realm. So I was pretty
Yeah,
intrigued. Um and the movie turned out to be way different than I expected.
yeah. There's a lot. It's more of a chase thriller than anything else for the majority of it.
It's more of like an espionage
Yeah,
spy thriller type thing.
conspiracy thriller kind of. Yeah.
Right.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of guys in suits and a bunch of screens around them, and they're kind of fast talking, and it's kind of gibberish, but it's just a lot of words. And there's like thousands upon thousands of people involved in this conspiracy, but somehow it's stayed under wraps for decades and decades, apparently. Uh, so yeah, it's that
money,
kind of a
man.
movie.
Yeah.
I get, yeah, sure.
No, I do agree. This movie definitely asks a lot of your ability to put aside reality for a lot of things. I mean, there's scene, this isn't really a spoiler, but there's a scene in this movie when actually there's multiple times in this movie when like a character will be like sneaking behind someone, and it feels almost like a video game where like
Yeah,
you're like that guard or whatever should have noticed. But it and there's one shot specifically that I'm thinking of that really felt like I was like playing Splinter Cell or something, one of those spy
yeah,
games.
I know this the scene
Yeah.
you're talking about. It's especially I was like laughing, like he's not even
Yeah.
being quiet, really.
Right.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And so I think that is definitely you know, like it's very reasonable to be like, what the fuck was that? Why did that guard not get, alerted by this guy? And also, I just kind of enjoyed it. I think there's something to be said about uh that type of movie that like that when done right can offer a lot of intrigue. I think of like the original Born Identity. I think that's the first one.
Yeah,
Um and you have no idea who this person is. He doesn't know who he is. You're learning it along with him, and I think it does that so well. And in this, this is the very beginning of the movie. You're thrown in. Josh O'Connor is like carrying a backpack at like a WWE match or something, and somebody in like a black suit essentially steals it from him and tell and threatens him, and then you get into this big scene and a little bit is revealed. There's like a special device or something, and there's a little bit revealed very slowly of like, oh, I saw what you did with it, and like all sorts of really weird stuff that left me very intrigued right in that first scene. And so I think
mm,
one thing this movie does really well, even before all that suspension of disbelief stuff, really, is that opening scene really sets you up for like it doesn't. This movie does not start you before the action. This movie starts you in some
yeah.
ways after the action has already started. You're pretty
It
much
drops you right in
past.
the middle of it.
Yeah, actually, it was
Yeah.
so much so that I was afraid it was going to be like 6 months later or like
Mm.
6 months ago or something in a
Yeah,
few
yeah.
minutes, but it never did that, which was so good because that would have been, I think that would have been miserable to be honest.
Mm.
But I do really like that it drops you right into it, and it offers a lot of intrigue right away in like what the hell's going on, who are these people, who is there's so many questions that I started thinking of in that first scene. I Thinking back, I don't really know if all of them got satisfying solutions, to be honest. But it made for at least an enjoyable experience for me because I kept thinking of what's the next question, what's the next answer, what's
Mm.
and even that set you right in for the type of action you're gonna have, right? That first scene. So
Yeah, it was a little shocking that the first shot of the movie is like a POV shot of a wrestler in a ring and they're like throwing each other against the ropes and stuff. I was like, what is
yeah,
makes no sense. So
did
it
I
kind of
sit in
threw
the
me.
right theater?
Yeah, right. But yeah, it drops you right into it, and
Yeah,
yeah, it's just a lot of the details did not work for me. A lot of the writing,
yeah,
I think, was a lot of the problem. A lot of the characters are poorly written, especially some of the side characters, and the movie just has a lot of ideas, and some of them are very half baked. And then by the end, it kind of just felt like Steven Spielberg being like, "Guys, you should believe in aliens. Like, you should really believe this." And I was kind of like, "This is a little annoying." So yeah, I don't know. The
yeah,
movie, I was pretty disappointed by it, to be honest. But it is like it's very much a Spielberg movie. It's shot by Janusz Kaminski. It's
yeah.
the scores by John Williams. So it's not like it's not horribly made. Josh O'Connor and Emily Blunt are great actors, you know, but it's really the writing and the story just like kind of fell totally flat for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I see that. In many ways, I actually do. I recalled Splinter Cell, the games, quite a lot, which is
Hmm.
not a compliment on the story or the writing at all, but it is a compliment on the entertainment factor. And in some ways, the visual cinematography. There's some like pretty good long shots in this.
He
Even
loves a oneer. He
yeah,
Spielberg's favorite thing. And usually they're cool. And it's like, oh, you have one set up and we're just going straight into another. We're putting basically multiple shots into uh, one long take. But there's some where it's like, there's one in particular where uh, we're facing a character and then we go like upside down and it's like the most
mm,
convoluted shot to like show the screen that the character is looking at. And I was like, all right, you could have just cut to a new shot there. We didn't need this weird upside down turning into this laptop screen or whatever.
totally.
But yeah, yeah, there are some, and it works especially in some of like the chase
Yeah.
sequences through the beginning of the movie, I think.
Yeah, even I mean, even some of the shots that are, him sneaking behind people and stuff, part of that, part of the reason why those shots at least are entertaining for me is that they are so visually coherent and visually like seamless because of those oneers and stuff. And even if you have to really be like, okay, this guard is like
Blind
turned
and deaf.
and yeah, like this guy is powered down, like
Yeah.
this droid is not activated yet, but
There is a little bit of stormtroopers going on here
yeah,
with all
oh
these
yeah,
all these well, I guess they're not government agents, whatever that the company is called, and
yeah,
so they're very stormtrooperish, very useless.
yeah, absolutely. And so if you can get past, so I guess I mean it might be good to. I feel like at this point, I really want to talk about some of the spoilers. So
Yeah, I think I'm down for that. Should we give our ratings before we do spoilers?
yeah, why not?
All right. Yeah. I
And
don't
maybe
think
like, would you recommend it to? Might be good here since it is a brand new movie. We're talking no spoilers yet, and we might have different
I
opinions here. So
yeah, I would not recommend it. I think it was really poorly paced and poorly written. And the 2.5 hour runtime just felt yeah, I did look at the time and there was approximately 35 minutes left. Or no, maybe 45 minutes left. And I was like, oh no. Like this is rough. So yeah, it was not an enjoyable experience for me. Uh it's a Spielberg movie. He's about it. I don't know. I mean, I get it if you want to see it just because it's a big thing, but I don't think the movie was actually good and I don't think it was worth seeing. So I can't recommend people see it. I gave it a 1.5 out of 5.
all right. Um, well, to contrast that, I would recommend this with some caveats,
Hmm.
whatever. Which is, I think that this movie is very entertaining, but it is in many ways similar to like a Bourne movie where like it's entertaining, but you don't think. I would not recommend thinking too much about the plot. I do think there's actually some really cool thematic stuff going on in this movie. Uh, that you might not get with other movies in that genre, but also there is some really horrendous like in some ways this movie is actually embarrassing. Like the CGI. We haven't even talked about that. And
Yeah, there's some. I didn't even mind the CGI wasn't even my main problem with the movie, but it was really where just the ending was quite disappointing for me as well.
yeah, yeah, and we'll get to that too. But
Yeah.
so I think there are like I think that there's enough here that I really enjoyed it even after the fact. But there's also enough here where I'm like, yeah, if you can't get past some of that stuff, that makes sense. So like if you're the person that like does like you don't want to spend 2.5 hours on a movie that's just entertaining and maybe has some thematic stuff, then it probably isn't for you because this movie really, again, it does. I would say it does lack in quite a few places, but and you've already mentioned them, so I won't like repeat those. But I think we pretty much agree. It sounds like on some of the areas where it lacks, right? The writing, the dialogue, stuff like that. But um, and my God, the CGI. But whatever. But I will say, up until the ending, I think this does have a pretty satisfying, just like spy thriller thing going on that was pretty fun for me. So if you're in it for just an entertainment movie, I think it can work. The runtime is a little rough. You know, I'm a good 90-minute enjoyer, but uh yeah, I don't know. So if you can sit through all that, I do recommend it, which isn't the most like
Ring
raving
endorsement.
recommendation, but I had a good time. And so I left the theater and gave it a 4 out of 5. But over the past few days, I have reflected a little bit, and I'm not going to change it right now, but I could see myself maybe thinking more of like 3.5 out of 5. But I'm going to leave it at 4 for the rating recap and all that since I've already done it. Um, but yeah, so I'm in that range of like 3.5 or 4. It's a good
Yeah.
movie. I enjoyed it, but also, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because when I left the theater, I was thinking of maybe like, man, this might be like a 1 star, like Eddington situation. And then I softened up a little bit and I was like, because there's some competency in the filmmaking in
Yeah.
certain elements, but man, it just was a slog to get through. Like the whole story just like felt like a complete mess to me, and none of the characters were well written, I didn't think. And yeah, it was just there were a couple times also I can't remember even when, but I did laugh at the movie a couple times, and there was one moment where a guy just burst out laughing in the theater, and it was pretty funny. But yeah, so yeah, disappointing, but that's the way it goes. Can't sometimes they hit, sometimes they miss. This one didn't work for me, but
Yeah.
should we do the rating recap before we get into spoilers?
Yeah. And I will say too, yeah, I mean, I was also expecting quite a lot from this movie.
Mm.
Like I said, big Spielberg. And also
Yeah.
Aliens, I'm there for that, you know.
Yeah,
So
I'm a big sci-fi fan, and I was excited about this. And Spielberg does a lot of movies that maybe I don't love, but I was really hoping I had high hopes for this one because it's sci-fi and because like this is clearly something he's passionate about. He has a story credit and like clearly this is something he really wanted to do. And so I did have hope. I think this was in my top five most anticipated from the episode we did whatever a couple months ago. I think The Odyssey, this might have been my number two most anticipated movie of the summer. I don't remember off the top of my head.
yeah,
But yeah, so quite
yeah.
disappointed.
Yeah, I want to say actually that episode was funny because there was like 3 things that we overlapped on or something. Um,
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. My top five were The Odyssey was number one, Disclosure Day was number two, The Drama was number three, which the drama was quite good. We did an episode on that if anyone's curious. I liked that movie. Project Hail Mary was number four. Loved that. We also did an episode on that. And then The End of Oak Street is number five, which comes out in
mm,
August. I think it was originally when we did the episode, it was called Flowervale Street, but
yeah,
now it's called The End of Oak Street. So that also, I'm excited for that.
yeah,
But yeah, so that was maybe we had Odyssey, Disclosure Day, and Project Hail Mary.
I think
We
so.
overlapped on those. Yeah.
Yeah, different order I think for all of them, but yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so the rating recap here though, and
Yeah.
this is still fairly new, you know, it only came out this past week, so keep that in mind, but it has a 3.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 81% critic score and 72% audience score, and a 6.8 on IMD, out of 10 on IMDb,
Hmm.
bringing it to a 7.2 out of 10 average. So it's right there in what I would probably call like the mid range. You know, it's like a good, you know, people seem to be enjoying it, but it is also pretty divisive on on Letterbox. Like, you know, clearly the well, I guess the highest ratings are 4, but I was thinking that it was a little bit more spread out. But the discourse seems to definitely be pretty spread out, at least.
Yeah, and I think the fans are having a worse. The general audiences are having a worse reaction to this. I think the critics maybe are giving it a little bit of leeway because it's Spielberg, and also uh, they probably maybe there's certain levels of competency to, like I said, like the cinematography, the score, and the acting. So
Yeah,
I see why people could, even if they have issues, be like, well, it's at least a decent movie. But yeah, my issues with the movie, which we'll get into in the spoilers, overrode all that for me.
yeah,
I don't like Eddington. This really did feel like the Eddington of 2026 for me.
man, that stinks to hear because Eddington. Eddington was bad. Um, but
Well, but Eddington was also divisive like this, you know?
yeah,
But
I
anyway.
wonder while we're on it, because we love to bring up Eddington, I want to check out how Eddington is doing on Letterboxd. It's at a
Hmm.
3.4 average. It's still pretty high.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that movie's brutal. If anyone's interested on us doing an episode on Eddington, we will not
No,
be
we're
doing
not.
it.
Yeah,
We
no.
will, that's not happening.
No.
But we've
We
talked
we've
about
just
it
we've
in
talked about it a
random.
bunch of times
Yeah.
because on our if anyone doesn't know, on our full episodes, we'll talk about things we've seen recently. And normally I try to keep it positive, but I think there was one episode I saw Eddington, I just had to have an
Yeah.
Eddington vent, and now it just keeps getting brought up as a movie that is a 2.5 hour slog.
Yeah. It is interesting that we almost do an episode on Eddington and then we decided not to before we even saw it, I think. But like it didn't line up
Possibly.
right or something. But it was in, I mean we were pretty hyped about the release. Anyways, but
Yeah, yeah, I think that might have been what happened, but it worked out. We didn't end up doing it, but we're doing the Disclosure Day episode.
yeah, let's get back to it.
Oh man, all right. Where do we start with this? Spoilers warning: if you haven't seen the
Yes.
movie, get out of here. Either go watch it or just leave and subscribe. And
Yeah.
thank you for listening. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
So here's you've been warned. We're in the spoiler section.
Yeah. Well,
All right. The movie. Oh, jeez. That ending.
yeah.
The ending was just. Oh man, it was so disappointing. Like it felt like it felt like the chase of like there's like 90 minutes of like they're running around and they're being chased by these guys in the suits. And
Yeah.
that could have been like 30 minutes. And then the movie could have had something after, like I wanted more at the end, but most of the movie I was like bored out of my mind. I'm like, that's just not good storytelling at that point. Like where this chase is just boring me. And then at the end I'm left unsatisfied and like this didn't feel like a satisfactory ending to me.
Yeah. Also, so the ending kind of has the when it's all getting released.
Yes.
Um I will say the newscaster actress who does the news from like New York City or whatever
Yeah.
does a really good job at reacting to this stuff, making it seem like a live reaction stuff,
Mm.
and does a really compelling like emotional confusion of like is this stuff real, all that stuff. And I liked that. I also really I liked, obviously they start with Roswell, right? The iconic, right? Everyone knows Roswell, blah blah blah. But
And
um
apparently they had newsreel like film
yeah,
like 60 mil. They're shooting like 8 millimeter or 60 millimeter film at Roswell apparently. Like,
yeah, totally. Why not?
sure.
Yeah.
And they had
Um
bad CGI aliens in it.
yeah, yeah. And it gets into all the others. And like, I think yeah, you could kind of see, I think the Phoenix Lights, you could kind of see like, I think there's a lot of references to UFOlogy and people that I think appreciate that stuff. Um, might like
Yeah,
those
I mean,
references quite a bit.
yeah, Spielberg is like all in on the believing aliens are real and are have visited us and the government is covering it up and all that kind of stuff. And
You
he
don't
literally at
say.
the end there, I know, right? They're looking at the camera like telling us to believe this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
not that I'm against maybe it's possible, but I've not been convinced.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, yeah, I agree with that. I'm not convinced that aliens, I mean, hey, I'll say one thing. I will say that the government is really good at being sleazy and keeping secrets from people and hiding the truth. And this is like Snowden, right? Like Snowden, this movie in many ways reminds me of the Snowden movie, um, of trying to release information to the public from an evil organization, in that case, the government, that's trying to withhold all this information from people. And I think there is some thematic weight here. And there's so many references to like the eyeball motif, which is like all over the posters and stuff
Hmm.
too. But and even in the opening shots, right? The guy closing his eyes and opening them and closing them when he gets hit and opening them. But so there's so many times when like vision and eyes are used as I think a pretty thematic motif. But um so I think like outside of the idea of this being like aliens, I think that the idea of a secret organization, like think about like SpaceX, if there's like secret guys in suits there that are getting paid a shit ton of money from Elon Musk to not tell people something, that is going to work. Those people will not tell people things. And bad things will happen, right? And this probably happens, right? Like, I'm not too much of a conspiracy theorist, but I would believe if like huge like SpaceX, probably the biggest company, right? I don't know. They make a shit ton of money. They just went public. That's why I'm thinking of them. Fuck you, Elon, by the way. Um, but you know, they make so much money. These people in suits over there, if there's like some crash that kills a few people, I could see them like burying something like that under the rug, right? And it takes really brave people like Edward Snowden to be able to help the public see, you know, in Snowden's case, like the atrocities that the American government was doing. Um, the thing is, this movie's not about revealing the atrocities of the government in any true sense, but if you use the aliens as a metaphor for actual government atrocities and stuff, I think that works a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think that aliens have been here, so I'm not gonna believe
Mm.
Spielberg based on this movie, you know?
Yeah, and like in this movie, they wheel out the alien. I heard someone call him Victor Wembanyama, which I thought was very funny. Um, but yeah, I mean, at least they had an alien, so that was fine, I guess. But it was
I
like,
guess.
yeah, I mean, at least there was like that level of proof in the movie.
Yeah,
Um,
right, right.
yeah, but yeah, it just felt like uh, it, just seeing the stuff on the new. Okay, a real problem with this movie is this alien device thing and the powers that come with it. It can just do anything. You can go invisible, you can read people's minds, you can like like look at a picture of someone and then appear in front of them and interact with them. Like the powers are insane and it kind of can just do whatever it needs for the plot to happen.
Yes.
Um, and then apparently, despite that, the aliens need us to watch the news to tell us about their existence. Like this is the best way for them to do it. They could basically like beam into our brains according to this how this movie works. Like why would you need to put it on the news?
Yeah.
When especially at a time where no one trusts the news. Why would you ever trust watching the news at this point? Or you can't trust anything you see on the internet at this point. It's you don't know what's AI and what's not. Like we're at a point where trusting images on TV and the internet is like at an all-time low. So like why would this be the way that aliens are telling us about their existence? Doesn't really make any sense to me.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting that there is this whole subplot in the movie, and this is relevant, I swear, but of World War III happening and breaking out
Yes.
during the movie, and that's all
Like
being released on the news.
we're on the brink.
Yeah. And you know, so there's all this controversy about whether the news should, you know, how much the news is covering that and stuff, I guess. But it's interesting that this movie seems like it's, you know, 10 years out of place in some ways, where like World War like the news today, if World War III was breaking out, the news would actually not know what to do because the news is saying that World War III is breaking out pretty much every day. You know, like mainstream news, any news really, like whatever, like unless you're like multiple, like you're actually fact checking your news and stuff like that, um, you're just getting a bunch of garbage, right? Like, or you don't know, right? You could be getting,
It's basically rage bait just to
yeah,
get people's interest
yeah,
by
and
making them
it's
afraid or angry or both.
exactly because everything just cares about like how much you're interacting with the thing, right? And so, you know, obviously you're going to interact with something more if you feel emotional about it. Now, what's the easiest emotion to pull out of people? Well, it's like sadness or rage, right? And so that's why there's like fake videos of people rescuing puppies and stuff. And also why there's people on the news just making garbage up all the time. So in some ways this feels so out of date because like if 10 years ago, if World War III was maybe more than 10 years ago at this point, like 15 years ago, if World War III was going to break out, it'd be all over the news. That's how you would get that information. Today, you'd be like, everyone's looking on Reddit and TikTok and Instagram, and
It'd still be all over the news.
it would be all over the news, sure. But like, I feel like this movie places so much value on the news, and there's no references to like other sources of information, really. You know,
Yeah,
they never talk about what if we
they
release this
do.
on somewhere else, right?
Yeah, the clip is like, oh, it's going viral on the internet now. Or is it this clip, the clip of Emily Blunt speaking the alien language? But
Right.
that's the only reference of it. It's never really
Yeah.
mentioned. And people at the end are looking on their phones and they're apparently watching. I don't know. I
Yeah,
guess
but
they're
they're
not.
watching the news on their phone, right?
I guess so. Yeah. But yeah, I see what you mean. It's also just in the context of the movie with this crazy these like superpowers that these aliens have. Like, why would they ever need? Why would I just don't even? None of it really makes any sense of why have they been captured by us? Are they not so powerful at this point that why would this one ever even be captured by us? Like, how do we keep it captive? How do we stop it from using these powers? Do they have to have the actual thing? What is that thing? None of it. Whatever. And there's just so many plot conveniences of it. It's basically it just felt like convenient plot device. It's like, oh, hold this thing, and then you can just interact with this character. You can actually mind control characters basically, because he mind
Yeah.
controls like her girlfriend,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's not.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, it
Yeah.
it just felt like a movie with so many ideas, and none of them came together.
Mm. Yeah, I can see that. I feel like
Yeah.
um yeah, I definitely see what you're saying with the device. It does feel like very convenient all the time.
Yeah.
Um it is interesting that like Emily Blunt seems to be able to actually use it, right? Like the Colin Firth's
Hmm.
character seems to just be able to like use a small amount of its power or something to like get into one person's
I
mind.
think, yeah. I think it's because
Um,
she was like the gift of the empathy or whatever kind of a thing.
right. Yeah, and that's an interesting thing that so each of them got like a different gift from the aliens.
Yeah.
He got the gift of understanding or whatever, and she got the gift of empathy.
Yeah.
Um, which is interesting. I feel like he's trying to say something here about us not having those things
Yeah.
in general, which makes sense. And
I mean, that's fine, but that's like what, 10 minutes of the movie.
yeah, it definitely does not focus on these things, which is
Yeah, till the very end, pretty much.
yeah. I
I
yeah, yeah.
I also felt I feel like I should say that the side characters, particularly the significant others of Josh O'Connor and Emily Blunt, found Emily Blunt's boyfriend. I think he's played by Wyatt Russell. Wyatt Russell, not a bad actor. Don't know that it's his fault, but I felt like his character was just incredibly annoying, and pretty much any time he was on screen, I was just annoyed by him. So that wasn't that fun. And then Josh O'Connor's girlfriend uh, almost made no sense to me as a character. I didn't understand anywhere of where she was coming from. The scene between her and Josh O'Connor when she's explaining how she was a nun and she lost her faith and about this, I I I didn't stop believing in God, but I stopped believing he was divine. I'm like, what are you talking about, lady? None of this makes any sense. And none of this makes sense as a reaction to the video footage of aliens that you just saw. Like that whole scene I thought was like terrible. Um and yeah, all the movies, all the stuff about like faith in God and faith in aliens, and you can't have both of them. I did like that there was the nun who was just like, "Oh no, you could believe like you could kind of square that extremely easily. Like, oh yeah, God just also created aliens. Like
Yeah.
literally, it's that easy. But the movie acts like it's this big. It's literally an existential threat. So her whole character, like, it felt like they just wrote her to basically talk conflict between her and Josh O'Connor. And it's like, oh, they have to disagree on this. And but her perspective on like, you can't let people know about this. It's going to destroy the world. It's like, would it really? Like, I really don't think it would. And her whole character just did not feel like an actual character. And kind of same with Wyatt Russell. He was kind of just like an annoying side character. He didn't really feel like a real, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just, both those characters were pretty poorly written to me.
Yeah. I can see that. I think in some ways, thinking of the like government, like if this is an allegory to like the Snowden stuff and like releasing government secrets and all that, I feel like she represents like the person who has faith in the government and therefore is like, this doesn't make any sense. And I know that's like
I
extrapolating this real thing in the movie to like a metaphorical thing, but
see what you mean. But if you were dating Edward Snowden and let's say it's maybe we take it to like Abu Ghraib, because that's kind of what they're doing. They're basically
yeah, yeah.
doing Abu Ghraib to these aliens. They're like Colin Firth is like torturing aliens. Basically, that's what the footage is of. So like, if your boyfriend was like, "Oh, I have this footage of our government torturing prisoners," and are you gonna actually react like you can't let people see this? They're not gonna trust the government anymore. It's like
I mean,
maybe I'm
if
just no, if you think that yeah, I guess you're like in the Matrix, the guy who takes the blue pill. But then
yeah,
you are like pathetic to me.
yeah,
Like
well, I mean, that's fair. But I think
that's
that's the thing is like I think that there's people who will so vehemently want to defend the country and they think really that like all of the means justify the ends, right? And the United States is great and all this stuff. And it's like so if you let people see this, they'll stop having faith in the government and all this stuff. And it's like I think they can be so deluded by the idea of thinking that like America helps keep the world in check and all this stuff. And like, even though we do bad things, it justifies the bigger result and all this garbage, right? And so I think that's kind of where I see that character, right?
mm.
I don't know.
Because I was kind of just viewing it as just an alien thing because I
Yeah,
know like Spielberg's kind of into the aliens and by the end it's like telling you basically they're talking literally straight into the camera breaking the fourth wall. So I wasn't really thinking of it as an allegory for anything. I was just thinking of it as more literal, like what would happen if this was real and this was the scenario. And I
yeah,
just thought her reaction was like absolutely insane to me and did not feel like a human reaction to like you don't think aliens exist, and then your boyfriend shows you footage of alien. You can see them with your own eyes. You know it now, and the way she reacted was just ridiculous to me. It didn't make any sense at all as like human reaction to
yeah.
this situation.
So outside of her reaction, though, I think this movie, one interesting question here is this idea of how would you react to understanding or seeing proof of aliens, right? How would people react, right? Do you think there'd be like existential crises, even if not in a reaction of like, don't do this or there will be, but like, what do you think? I don't know.
I'm sure that it would change the way we look at reality and stuff like that, and it'd be fascinating, obviously, but I don't think it would. There'd be like an apocalyptic scenario or anything.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
I'd probably react like the nun. The nun was the only character who I was like, what this lady's saying makes sense. She's
Yeah,
calm, she's rational, she's chill. Everyone else is freaking out. Obviously, also Coleman Domingo. He's kind of like a, I don't know. He's kind of just a uh, exposition like factory basically. But his character is kind of also trying to do the right thing, throughout the whole movie. Um, which is cool. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I
yeah. I
don't
like
think it
his character
would.
quite a bit, Coleman Domingo's character. Um,
Yeah, but it was a lot of just like there's just so many plot conveniences, and like them being like, oh, he'll be like, you'll find each other, and it's like, oh, because they have this telekinetic connection or something like that, and I'm like,
yeah, yeah, definitely does have a lot of those conveniences and stuff. And I think that's I mean, I think, there's a lot of and this is kind of why the past like week or so I've been not even week, the past weekend. I've been reflecting on the movie, and I probably, if I don't know, I could see myself dropping this to 3.5 at some point, um,
Mm.
I don't know. For
I
me, it does offer enough questions. Like even whenever you see Coleman Domingo for most of the movie, there's like the set being built around him and all this stuff, and it's
mm,
like, what the fuck is he doing, right? And I was thinking at one point, I was like, oh, he's building this so that when the guy gets into his head, he won't know where he really is or something, you
mm.
know. And so I did like that the movie kept me thinking and guessing, and it kept me engaged with the action and stuff like that, and all. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much like plot conveniences and all that. But also, I do want to go back to the CGI real quick.
Hmm.
it the CGI looks embarrassing for a movie of this scale. It
Yeah. I like the little raccoon. He was little.
There's a raccoon.
It was like one shot. There's
Oh
like it's like a moose or a deer,
yeah.
and then there's like a fox, and then there's also a raccoon.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I don't remember the raccoon, I guess, but
Yeah.
yeah, when you see them for more than one shot, you're like, wow, that looks awful. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know if they're supposed to look a little unreal because they're alien manifestations or something. I really don't know, but I'll tell you what, it's unsettling. They don't look very real, and
No. Yeah, and the aliens don't look like the alien at the
yeah,
end doesn't look great. Yeah. See, the
yeah,
CGI, by that point in the movie, I was kind of already out because I was annoyed by other things. I was annoyed
yeah,
also like you said about the sneaking around and he's like stepping on sticks and you can hear his foot
yeah,
and they're right there. There's like 30 people that you're like,
yeah,
these people, none of them had looked around or he's not even hidden behind anything. It's like a fence with two pieces of horizontal wood and he's
yeah,
just standing. He's not even like it's insane. And then they're driving and he's getting there's like 10 cars around him. And then there's a little like bridge under construction and a car conveniently like flips right in front of them.
yeah.
And like yeah, all that kind of stuff. I did like the little train sequence. I thought
Oh
that
yeah, that
was
was awesome.
like classic movie. Like obviously they're gonna be fine, but it's kind of like a fun movie sequence.
Wouldn't that have been a crazy twist if actually like only one of them gets up, the other one gets shredded by the train? You just get this gory sequence of blood everywhere, and
Yeah,
that'd be
but
insane.
this is what I don't understand. I don't even understand the point of the two main characters being in the movie because why do the aliens need them? Why do
Yeah.
they need to give them these powers and then you have to communicate through them to I don't even understand why that would be necessary for the aliens to do.
Well, when the aliens abduct these two people, when you see them right in the alien ship, they have like I don't know a dozen of these things kind
Yeah.
of floating towards their heads and stuff. So maybe that's like how the aliens do anything, right? Is like these are their tools, and they're actually not like overly competent at any like they're good with
Mm,
these tools, right? It's like if you threw me on an alien planet without uh like I don't know, like
a lighter.
yeah, a lighter or like anything, right? I'd be like, the fuck am I supposed to do now? Like
Mm,
and even if they thought that my lighter was magic, right? Because it made fire like whatever, right? If someone else has that, I'm like, okay, well, I can't make fire now. What the fuck am I supposed to do here?
mm. Yeah.
And then I'm
I
getting tortured, and I'm like, guys, I brought that. Like I don't know.
yeah. And I get it. Like the aliens are trying to help us basically. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you guys are about to go to World War III, probably going to nuke the planet and destroy everything, so we're going to save you by empathize. Are you happy about nuking the planet?"
Hey, man, it's about time.
That's crazy. That's insane. That's like, yeah, that's crazy.
uh, no, I'm
Yeah.
joking, obviously.
All right, all right. All right, Adolf.
Whoa, okay.
What you just said was worse than anything Adolf ever said. You wanted to kill everyone.
I was joking. Don't call me Adolf. That's crazy.
All right, Adolf. All right.
All right, all right. Anyways, no, yeah, I think Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess I think that's kind of the whole point of those rods is like they're the aliens' tools and they can't do much without them. It is interesting, like obviously those things are able to do like, just whatever they need them to do. I think those things really like like if there wasn't the turning on the power thing, I would say, what they do is they just control people's minds or whatever. But when she makes everyone invisible, she's really just making, she has like, because she's so good with this thing, she can make all of the bad guys' minds not see them, right? That's kind of what I was thinking was going on. But
Mm.
then she turns on the power with it once the power goes off. And I'm not really sure what that F, like maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I see for me though, I kind of didn't really care that much. I was like, I knew she was going to use the thing because there was still the one that uh the girlfriend had, and so I was like, yeah, she's gonna use it, and somehow she's gonna be. I thought she was just gonna use that to tell everyone in the world through their minds. I thought she was just gonna hold that up and be like hold that to her temple or something, and be like, hear me or something, and everyone would just hear her click clack in their heads.
That would be, see, that would be cooler.
I thought that would have been cool,
Yeah.
but whatever. I get turning on the power. I guess I don't really get how that works, but I get they wanted to do it through
It
the
can do it.
news.
It can do whatever
Yeah,
and they need it to do. That's
yeah,
anything the plot
totally.
requires, it can kind of just do it. But yeah, I feel like the movie, I felt like it had so many ideas and it was just so bloated.
Yeah.
Like, could we not have just eliminated both of the boyfriend and the girlfriend characters? If we just cut them out of the movie completely, is it not like a better, more focused movie? I'm on these, maybe we're on the two of them and they meet earlier on and like I don't know, but like, yeah, it just, yeah, it felt like a slog to me. So tough, 2.5 hours, wasn't enjoyable, unfortunate.
Yeah. I yeah, I get all of that, I think, but I don't know. I guess for me, I just did find it pretty entertaining. And so like the
Yeah.
writing was bad. There was a lot of bad dialogue in this movie, you
Hmm.
know. Um yeah,
A lot of
the
exposition dumps. Oh yeah, the one thing I wanted to say, I maybe last thing. I just thought the Colin Firth character was so cartoonish. Like he did
oh
not
yeah.
feel like a and with your allegorical thing of like this is could just be about any government conspiracy. I'm like, well, I see what you're saying. Like people are covering up, I don't know, like is Colin Firth like worse than like Alan Dershowitz or Donald Trump or something? Like these people, there are these people who are just completely, but even then, like we don't get that sense of like him. I don't know. I don't know. He just
I
felt like
mean,
a cartoonish villain who was
this guy
just being
could
a villain just to be a villain.
yeah. But I mean, like think about the people that are like covering up the Epstein stuff still, right?
Right.
That's this guy, right?
Right. Right.
I
Yeah. There
mean,
there are cartoonishly evil people. Like this guy's Benjamin Netanyahu.
yeah, totally, right. I mean, that's like seriously, like I think
I mean, this guy. I mean, probably not even as bad. He seems nice compared to Benjamin
yeah,
Netanyahu.
totally. I mean, yeah, you did pick
He's way more chill.
this is it's like calling me Adolf earlier, but not quite as whatever. Anyways, um
You said you wanted nuclear holocaust.
I didn't really you're putting a few words in my mouth here. Hold on.
You made a serious statement.
um
I'm fake news.
yeah. But no, I think and maybe that's also part of why I enjoyed it a little bit more is well, I mean, here's something, right? Is I think it's interesting that I went into this really expecting like an alien movie or
Yeah,
even like something more about the fallout of people learning about aliens. This movie really ends at disclosure moment. It doesn't this
I
isn't really
know.
about the day that things get disclosed. It really builds up to that moment, but that's really it. And I think immediately when the movie ended because of that I was kind of like, oh, I definitely expected something way different. But then thinking about it and I was like, you know, if this is just about any conspiracy, right, then I think a lot of this makes more sense. And I know that maybe that's not even the intent, right? But that's certainly, I think, a maybe even a better interpretation. Just because, I mean, for me, like, I really just don't, I'm not, I'm not on all that alien stuff. I think it's fun. Like Roswell, yeah, I would go to Roswell and go to all the museums there and stuff. You know, whatever. I would also go to the Bigfoot Museum in North Carolina. You know, like I think that stuff's cool, but I'm not I'm I'm not a believer. You know, I maybe one day I'll get one of those I want to believe posters
The
from
alien,
yeah
yeah. Is
from
that
yeah from the X Files.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that show rocks. You know, like I love the lore, right? But it is just folklore, in my opinion, right? I mean, you know, I'm happy to be wrong, I guess, but also it's probably just folklore. So
Yeah.
I'm not really in on the whole telling me to believe, looking in my eyes, into my
Yeah.
soul at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But I think if you just replace all this with like, you know, the Epstein cover up or the, you know, the NSA stuff with Snowden or any, you know, like the WikiLeaks guy, right? That people were hunting down for
Julian
years.
Assange, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Right. Like you just replace this with any true actual conspiracy that's happened because people in power are garbage people, right? They are the Colin Firth's characters, people of the real world. And I think a lot of this makes sense where like only the chosen few actually are given knowledge. And are they actually going to do anything about it? Right. It seems like not when it comes to like the Epstein stuff, right? Because it turns out people like money more, right? Like people are happy to just stay with money and power and fuck everyone else, right? And so, anyways,
Yeah.
I think if you just look at this as like an allegory for that type of conspiratorial processes, I think this movie makes a little bit more thematic sense to me.
Mm.
But I don't know. You do have
Yeah.
to step away from the plot to do that, but also I'm okay
No,
with that
I
because the
that
plot's pretty wild. Like
I like that interpretation. I
nice,
get it. Yeah.
cool.
Uh yeah. All right. I just didn't find it entertaining, and that's probably the main
Yeah,
difference between us.
I mean, this
Yeah.
movie's all about trying to. This is an entertainment movie. This is not, you know, I don't know. This isn't Tokyo Story. You know, you're not watching this for, you
Yeah,
know,
that's why I feel like the 2.5 hour runtime is so like unnecessary. Like I just feel like I don't know. I feel like either it could have been shorter and just straight up action packed, or it could have been shorter and a different structure where we are able to explore the ideas in a more interesting way, especially with a maybe a different ending that gets into more of that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
But yeah, all right, cool. Well, I guess that's Disclosure Day. I think that was like a pretty short episode, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean that's all right. I think we gave our opinions. We gave our
Yeah.
Rex or not Rex, and that's how it is sometimes. You know, I mean, with these new movies, it's always a risk to talk about them.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just don't. Neither of us like them. You know, sometimes like Superman.
Yeah.
Actually, we didn't
I
even
like
cover
Sup we
Superman. We
didn't
didn't
cover
even cover,
Superman.
but
I
I
did
didn't really
like
like
I
Superman, and you did.
Superman was good, yeah.
Um,
Much better than this. Superman was far better than Disclosure Day. It's a nice, entertaining movie, good actually a better Spielbergian optimistic message in Superman than even in Disclosure Day. Actually, it was funny, good action.
totally.
Had a dog, better CGI. You got to admit that.
That movie did have better CGI. I'll give you that. There you go. You got me on that point.
There you go.
Anyways,
Well, speaking of Superman, we may be covering Supergirl. Isn't that in two
yeah,
weeks?
yeah.
So I think
Is
that
that in two
might,
weeks? Oh my god, dude.
I know, crazy, right? So also I'm seeing The Furious. Well, I mean, from when we're recording, I'm seeing it tomorrow, but by the time it
Nice.
comes out, I will have already seen it. So that looks like an awesome movie. I didn't even know it was coming out. I just like saw about it like a few days ago when it was coming out, and it's getting all these great reviews and comparisons to The Raid, which I love. I love The Raid, so I'm hyped for that. But yeah, I think the plan is next week. Obviously, we have zombie episode. We're gonna announce our picks soon, and then I think the plan is Supergirl. If you're
Yeah.
down for that, all right.
Oh yeah. I I'm hoping I'll like Supergirl more than I like Superman.
Hopefully, I feel I don't know. I'm more cautiously optimistic about Supergirl. I did read the graphic novel, like the comics that it's loosely based on, and I really enjoyed most of it, but the ending was a little unsatisfactory for me.
Okay.
Obviously, this is going to be different. It's not just a
Yeah.
straight up adaptation of that particular Supergirl story, but also the art in it is really great. But I don't know if if the movie has the same super colorful and
Mm.
artistic look. It looks a little more drab, but that might just be from the trailers.
And this is not James Gunn, right?
No, it's he's like
He's like,
overseeing
sure,
all the
yeah.
DCU stuff, but this one's directed by Craig Gillespie, who did I, Tonya, he did Dumb Money, and he did Cruella. Um
Interesting.
yeah, and he's done a few other movies too. I think he did Lars and the Real Girl. I think that's him. With Ryan Gosling. That's a good like indie movie, one of his earlier movies. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll talk about it
Yeah.
in 2 weeks. That'll be fun. And then, well, then we'll have another regular episode. And then we've got the Odyssey. I've already got
Yeah.
my tickets. I've got the 70 millimeter IMAX. I'm
Nice.
hyped.
I have to get my tickets. I still haven't gotten them. I'm slacking here. For anyone that follows, you might know that I've got the AMC A list,
Oh yeah,
and
congratulations.
I love those memes. Those are so funny. Every time we're in the movie theater, Kim's like, "Stand up" when they do the A list thing. Have you seen
Oh
those memes? You know what I'm talking about?
no, I'm not
Uh,
in it. I don't go to
there's
AMC's.
there's just like people on whatever Instagram or TikTok or whatever, we'll show a video of some guy in the movie theater just standing up and clapping for themselves and like looking around as they announce the A-list thing. And so,
Uh,
so at the AMC, there's like we
like
want to thank
bowing,
our
like
sponsors, especially the A-listers who are seeing up to 4 movies in any format, blah blah blah.
ah,
And so when that happens, you'll see, there's TikToks of people standing up and clapping for
yeah, you like
themselves
take
and
take your
stuff.
hat off. You're like,
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, thank you."
exactly, exactly. So I don't do that. I don't do that. But
All
anyways,
right, maybe I'll have
what?
to get be AMC A list just so I can stun on people.
Yeah.
And,
What the hell was
well,
I?
be humble. You gotta like do fake humble, like you're bowing. You're like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
no, no,
No, please,
no,
please,
please, everyone calm
please.
down. I'm not that amazing.
I take Venmo. It's okay. But um,
Wear a suit.
but what I was gonna say is when the Odyssey just the tickets first dropped, the AMC's whole like ticketing
Oh
system
yeah.
went down. So I was trying to get tickets for it, and there's a 70 millimeter projection in Boston Common, which isn't too far from
Hmm.
me. But I couldn't get the tickets that day, and then I still just haven't gone back and gotten them. So
That's unfortunate.
hopefully there'll still be good times. But
Yeah, and if you don't see it 70 millimeter,
yeah, I'll just see it
that's okay.
IMAX. I,
Yeah.
if I can't see it 70 millimeter, I'll definitely see it IMAX, and that'll be awesome. The chances are I
Yeah.
might see this more than once in theaters. So if I have to see it IMAX and then wait to see 70 millimeter until it's a little bit less crowded, maybe that'll be good. But
Yeah, I will say best part of seeing Disclosure Day was the Odyssey trailer that played right before it. It looked really sick.
I did I see any trailers
You
before
showed up.
Disclosure
You
Day?
got there 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, I did see one. Oh, I saw the house, the end of Oak Street.
Oh, yes. Yep.
I think that was the last trailer before the movie started. So I think I saw that.
Gotcha. Yep, I also saw that one. It looks interesting. I feel like we're seeing a lot in the trailer.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that's a lot of the movie, but
but maybe not. I mean, maybe that's the first 30 minutes. I don't know.
hopefully.
Yeah. But
Anyways, we should announce our zombie episodes for
yes.
next week because that's coming up really soon.
Yeah, that's next
Um,
week.
so
Should I go first? Do you want to go first?
you can go first. Go for it. What do you got?
I'm going with Shaun of the Dead.
Nice, awesome.
Classic zombie comedy. So, self-aware, kind of a parody, loving parody of the genre. And I think it'll be fun. And I have no idea where you're going. I know you're the horror fanatic of us, so I feel like Shaun of the Dead kind of can pair with anything.
Yeah. I love Night of the Living Dead, the original. I honestly kind of a sucker for Dawn of the Dead. Even the original Day of the Dead was pretty cool. I probably would not pick that for the podcast
I
unless
liked it.
some other
I
time.
haven't seen those like recent. Actually, we rewatched Dawn of the Dead when we covered the Dawn of the Dead remake like last year.
Yeah.
But I haven't rewatched Day of the Dead in a while. But I remember really liking Day of the Dead.
Yeah, it's cool. Um, and there's just so many great zombie options that I decided to go to my childhood for this one and look at a
Oh,
reason why I like horror so much, which I think really strikes from a couple of things. One is Sid from Toy Story. That actually, Toy Story itself, that movie has some pretty horrific sequences. But two is Scooby Doo. And so we're going to Zombie Island.
wow. See, this was discussed as a potential
Yeah.
option, and I didn't. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen this. I wonder if I've seen it like when I was a kid or something. But
So Scooby Doo on Zombie Island or Scooby Doo Zombie Island, depending on where you find it, is 1998. It's a Scooby Doo movie, and it's like 77 minutes long, and it's the gang goes to an island, and you might guess it, there might be zombies. It's a pretty
wow.
unique Scooby Doo movie for a few reasons too. So I am excited to cover it. Are you? I need to know a little bit. Are you a Scooby Doo fan in general?
I'd say I think I had the live action Scooby Doo's on DVD when I was a kid. I enjoyed them. May have been slightly scarring. There's like some weird early 2000s stuff in
Totally.
there. So probably traumatized me a little bit. I feel like Scooby Doo, I was
Mm,
never a big Scooby Doo fan, but also I was like, oh yeah, I don't have anything against Scooby Doo,
yeah,
but I wasn't exactly a huge fan of Scooby Doo either.
I'll say. Before we even get into the episode, I'm going to tell you right now. This movie is pretty influential to me. I would say because Scooby Doo itself is, and this is a movie that I we had on VHS, and we watched. I watched this movie probably a dozen times as a kid.
Nice. All right,
Um,
sick.
and I have seen it a little bit more recently, only like once in the more recent era. And when I watched it then, I was like, hey, this lives up to what I remember.
It holds up.
And there was also some things that I remember seeing in the movie that I didn't remember when I was a kid. And so that was interesting.
Okay.
But I will say I was like a big Scooby Doo person, what's new Scooby Doo, all that stuff. I was even the pup named Scooby Doo, I was like, dude, I'm in it, and the live action movies are fucking awesome. So Scooby Doo is definitely my jam. So I'm gonna go into this one saying, uh, uh, I'm probably gonna be a little biased, and I'm allowed to do that. So just just keep
Yeah.
that in mind. It's
Yeah, cool.
but it's fun.
I'm down. I'm down. I never we're not even watching horror movies.
Yeah,
we picked a kids movie and a comedy.
I did. I was thinking about what to pick, and part of me was like, Shane's watched a lot of movies that Shane did not enjoy for me recently. Um, you know,
We mungoed.
yep,
We
you
did
didn't,
some, yeah.
yeah, and so I was like, you know what, I might as well pick one that I think
At least it'll be
like
short.
it's short. It's like a kids movie, like like what are you, Adolf? What like what are you?
All right, I just come in, I just have a little mustache next episode.
No. I mean, there is obviously a chance you don't like it, but I thought it was a little bit safer than picking like a zombie movie you haven't seen. And I have seen
Hmm,
all of the Dead movies fairly recently because I just rewatched all the Romero movies.
hmm,
Actually, I'm still making my way through some of his newer stuff. Um,
hmm.
Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But so I just decided I would pick something. You know what?
I'm
It's
with it.
fun.
Yeah, but yeah, let's do it. Scooby Doo on Zombie Island and Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dooby Doo?
Shaun of the Dooby Doo on
Shaun
Zombie
of
Island.
Yeah, I like that. I like Dooby Doo.
Shaun of the Dooby Doo.
Oh yeah. Shaun of the Dooby Doo on Zombie Island. That
Excellent.
it just kind of works perfectly.
That's amazing.
It couldn't have worked any better. Cool. Yeah, I was thinking of picking like zombie flesh eaters, the
Hmm.
Lucio Fulci movie. That's a fun
That
movie.
movie's awesome.
Yeah, that's a cool one. But I Shaun of the Dead is just I haven't seen it in a while. So
Yeah.
wanted to revisit it, and
Zombie
that'll be fun.
flesh eaters,
Yeah.
also called Zombie 2.
Also just called Zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a bunch of different titles.
Hilarious.
Yeah, because Dawn of the Dead was called Zombie in Italy, and then
Yeah.
it was marketed as Zombie 2. So then there is also a Zombie Flesh Eaters 2, which is
Yeah.
also known as Zombie 3, but even though it's actually just a sequel to Zombie 2, which is not really a sequel to Zombie 1. It's like
Hilarious.
Italian, Italy in the 70s. Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy time.
So yeah, it is funny that we're really picking very
Yeah, I'm
different
with it.
movies than what people might have expected, I would say. But
I'm with it. I think it'll be fun.
a curveball.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So if anyone has not seen those movies, get out and check them out, and we'll be covering them next week. That'll be fun. And like we said, we've got all that cool stuff coming for summer. We're reviewing some new movies. So if you guys enjoyed the episode, you can give us a like. You can comment down below whether you are more on Ryan's side or more on my side on Disclosure Day. Um, yeah, subscribe. We're on the podcast apps. We're on YouTube. You can give us a 5-star rating if you're on the podcast apps. We would appreciate it very much. We also just appreciate people listening. Very, very much appreciate it. We're also on Letterboxd, Mind Your Movies, all one word in the bio. There's also links to both my account and Ryan's account, so you can follow us there if you want to check out what we're watching or interact with us over there. We're both pretty active over there, so if you comment or something, we'll probably reply. But all right, I guess that's that. Anything else you want to say before we go?
No, that's all for us.
Don't forget to mind your movies.